Well, welcome back to the 13th Days of Christmas or Vlogmas that Ben Petrichor challenged me to. I feel like
Hi, I am the challenger. Yes, challenger. I said 12 days, but of course she had to go and do 13. So whatever.
boring people say 12. I like to go for 13 days.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for some really good suggestions. I've had a couple, but I want some more for what the 13th day of Christmas is. Like, what would you get in the song? There's some good questions in there. All right. So, in honor of this 9th day of the 13 days of Christmas for Vlogmas with Miss LaCane, we decided that we would get together and we would do a little cooking. So this is my all-time favorite cookie, but also Christmas cookie. Because of my niece, Jasmine Parker, I have, well, actually because of Jasmine Parker and because of the little one as well, we have decided, you've seen both, if you heard one, saw one, we've decided to do this more than just Christmas time. They both like to do it with black and red. I like to do red and green because it's Christmas. So without further ado, Ben Petrichor, let's make some 2-layer cookies.
Let's make it.
All right. So I've got everything laid out here. As you can see, I like to put some wax paper out or anything really to kind of protect and make less of a mess because let's be honest, flour, powdered sugar, all of the stuff can get all over. And it's nice not to have that as a problem. Besides what you're going to need, so you're going to need butter, Crisco, almond extract, powdered sugar, and flour. But besides that and the utensils to mix and melt and soften with, I also like to have festive paper plate. It's a golden tool. It does so much that keeps you from having messy hands and broken cookies. I'll explain this later. Okay, so we're going to start first. Got our Christmas music on because it's awesome. I have to say that Carleen Winter Reynolds, her song Winter, it's a cover of Winter. That one and Barry Manilow, Michael W. Smith, and Kathy Mattea Christmas albums. Those are my favorites. So those are my go-tos. I have to say that up front. I'm going to start with the Crisco. The recipe says butter first, but I don't do that. Apologies to my aunt. Okay, so my Crisco is about 2 tablespoons under the 1/2 cup that you have to do. So I'm going to put that in there. Then I'm going to open a new one. I'm going to cut 2 tablespoons out and put it in as well. A little messier than I want to be, but it's going to be good. Get a knife. There we go. And I'm going to put these in a cereal bowl because it's soft. You can melt it, you can mix it, whatever. But I have found that it is easier for me to give it a little softening in the microwave. It helps with the actual mixing. So I give it a little line on the 2 tablespoon line with my knife. So there's an indent. When I open it up, I will see that, and then I can cut across. Little cooking basics here. How are you doing, Ben Petrichor?
I'm good, I think.
Got your 1/2 cup of Crisco ready to be used?
It's being yes. It's being yes.
I have cut mine. I'm gonna go put it in the microwave. I like to do 20 to 30 seconds. If you do more than 30 seconds for melting things, they generally go, and then you have a mess. It's also a good idea to cover that because then if they go, it just goes on the cover and not everywhere.
Oh, come on. We want it to go everywhere.
No, because then it's not the proper measurement anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good for a food fight, but if we're cooking, we need the proper measure. Put this back away and put the lovely little lid on so it keeps my Crisco nice. I love Crisco. All right.
You girls, I don't really need the help.
That should be almost softened. The next thing we're going to want to do, which I melt, I don't soften. And I don't know if that's how my aunt planned it, but I melt these. It's 3/4 cup butter. So I've got a 1/2 cup butter, 1 whole stick, and I've got a 1/2 stick that is a 1/4 cup. So 3/4 cup butter, which is what we'll be melting next. Now from Petrichor, are you going with the recipe as is, or are you making alterations?
So my alteration, because I thought it would be fun, I am actually gluten intolerant. And so I am making it gluten-free, which means I am using, I think it's just a gluten-free baking flour. Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
that is what I am using.
Oh, perfect. And I've got a lovely silicone spatula here, which makes mixing and scraping and scooping easy. All right. Time to melt that butter. You got your Crisco softened and in the bowl?
Yes, Crisco is ready, on the way to butter.
Yes, that is important. I like to keep the wrapper over the butter too, because it works really good for greasing plates later. Bowls, things to cook with. I'm using an 8-cup measuring cup for a bowl, and that works really good for me. One thing I also want to suggest, because I had a friend who hasn't baked before, so in case that is you, if you have dogs or cats, make sure you vacuum and you wipe everything down. Aprons are good for protecting your clothes, but they're also good for protecting your food if you love your animals and hug them a lot. And I try to clean, like switch a shirt before I bake, pull your hair back, all the basics. Anything I'm missing here?
Explain to people why that is.
What? What'd you say?
Excuse me, ladies. Huh?
What did you say?
I said, explain to that why that is, because I did not know why when you first told me this.
Oh, which part? The hair back?
No, the flour bit.
Oh, yes. You have to be very careful with your flour. We're not to the flour yet, but that is a very good point to bring up. Did you know? And I think this is a fairly new development. Flour is raw. So the same way that you don't want, your raw eggs or the shell all over your counter, or you don't want to touch it and then go touch something you don't cook. Like, you should always clean your hands in between raw meats, eggs, shells, things that have touched them. Flour is the same way. So you could actually get really sick. So those cute little Hallmark scenes, or any other movie where they take the flour and they blast it at you, I look at that and I go, oh dear Lord, no, because you could get really sick because it's raw. Don't do that. Or cook your flour first. Thanks, Mom. Got 1/4 cup of our butter done. Gonna scrape it out with the silicone, so that helps. And Mom, do you recall what is it specifically that the raw flour is a danger for? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. She thinks it's salmonella. So if you don't want salmonella, don't eat raw flour. Don't play with raw flour. Don't have raw flour fights. It's not as cute as it looks in the movies. Stick with snowball fights or powdered sugar fights. I like those. But if you live in ant country,
Don't, in fact.
Unless you're looking to fill an ant farm, and then hey, it's good bait. Maybe. I've got my final parts of the butter in, but it is a full 1/2 cup, so it may take a little longer than the 30 seconds. I'm going to start to kind of mix this stuff in. The spatula. I love these silicone spatulas. They're really good. And what's nice about this one here is there is no break. So you don't have room for like food to get inside the handle. Like the handle goes inside that. You don't have room for that. So it's easier to keep everything clean. Definitely easier to serve good food. And it's easier to clean the spatula. It's all one piece.
Need you. I love you. Get out of the way.
What I should also say is that a lot of the times, instead of using this 8-cup mixing bowl, I will use the KitchenAid mixer, because it does all the heavy work for you and it gets it really smooth. But I thought that might be a little too loud for the video. So my arms are going to work out because I love y'all. Oh, it could also be E. coli for the raw flour. So
Could also be what?
E. coli. So I'm not.
That.
Either way, I don't want it. nor do I want to give it to anyone or have it around my kitchen. And I certainly don't want it accidentally in my frosting because frosting should just be good to eat.
All right.
Well, a delicious melted butter. I'm going to take this and pour it in. And then scrape it up to make sure I got it all, but it's good and melted, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Very good. And I will carefully not put that hot bowl on a cold counter. I like my bowl, like my counter. All right. So now I'm mixing all this up. So we've got our 3/4 cup melted butter, got our 1/2 cup Crisco, which has been softened and is being softened by the melted butter a little more. So I'm mixing that up really good. Sometimes it helps to use a fork because you can kind of push it in and mix it a little better. So if it doesn't mix super easy or super smooth for you, that's a good trick. We're going to take 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. So that is next. Gotta get my trusty powdered sugar open and have to refill this before we make frosting because yeah, these cookies have frosting. It's a sandwich cookie. It's 2 layers. 2 cookies, lots of frosting. Can't go wrong, eh?
Yum, yum.
It's my favorite. So I may have to refill it before. All right, and as always, knife over, make sure it's in. So you do knife across. That's how you get a straight line and know that you have an actual tablespoon. So my great grandparents measuring spoons, and I love them. All right, let's see what we can get up now. Hopefully I have 2 tablespoons in here, not like a tablespoon and a half. Kathy Mattea on now, can't go wrong there. She was the first one I ever heard married to Gino. So, been pets before. This is gonna be fun, guys. Watch your facial expression. What's your favorite Christmas carol?
Well, technically, my favorite is Carol of the Bells.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Um,
I've always wanted to write a
which is
parody.
hilarious because I hate Christmas music. Like I will watch a Christmas movie like it is cool. I love Christmas lights. I will read Christmas books, but Christmas songs, I was in choir for 6 years. So it gets to a point where it's like, I don't want to hear it anymore when you're hearing it from the beginning of September to the end of December. But my favorite Christmas carol is one that I did in choir.
That is
So-
shocking. I think it sounds delightful to do that much Christmas music. I start in July sometimes, but don't tell.
Yeah, you are weird.
I know, I wrote my first play to Christmas music and I wrote it in July.
You know, more power to you.
Well, it was a Christmas play, so that might have helped. All right, I got my trusty flour. I like to keep it in glass. Number 1, I don't want it in plastic. Number 2, I just think it looks really nice. So what we are going to do now is we are going to do 2 cups of flour. Do you got your powdered sugar in there, Finn Petrichor?
Eason.
All right, here's the key with flour for anyone who is not aware. You don't just scoop it and drop it, scoop it and drop it, press it and go across. You get way more flour than you need there. It is a very delicate maneuver. So you take this, a light scoop, so you haven't patted this together or anything, you just scoop it off the top. And you very carefully set it in and gently just set it there so it's not packing in, because you don't want your flour to pack it off, because then you'll get too much and the recipe's off.
Sorry.
She just realized the light was off. So, and then once you get it to where you think you have it enough, and I always go a little over the measuring thing. And Finn Petrichor, go ahead and add in if you have any different things that work good for you. But I get a little too high. The reason for that is you can always very carefully scrape the top and you don't have holes. This is the plan. And this is the flour, so I don't want it all over. So I keep it over the flour container as much as I can. because less mess and no raw out and around is hopefully the plan. So I kind of just go around and check it all, make sure I get this all in. And then I use the back of the knife. I start in the center and I kind of push through. So I go there and then I do that. And I very carefully don't push down because I don't want to pack it, since I've been very careful with it thus far. So I've got 1 cup of flour and then I dump that in. Now what I have noticed with this is it's a little hard to mix in. So I do about 1/2 cup at a time and I mix it, and then 1/2 cup and I mix it. And as you get to the end of the 2 cups, it might be less than that because it gets stiff. Sometimes with the melting, it gets really easy, or the KitchenAid, it gets really easy. But if you're doing it by hand, put a little bit at a time and work it in. It'll be easier on your muscles and your frustration. Unless you're like a muscle builder or something, and then do what you want. Maybe it's a good workout. I'm not sure.
I mean, it might be, but
Yes. And I like to do little circle movements, which point here that's kind of interesting. I found out in my 16th century Italian sword fighting class. When you do those little movements like that, so the tip of your sword barely moves. That's how you build strength and control and everything else you need for sword fighting. So cooking can help you prepare for sword fighting, maybe. Or I'm stretching it. I might be stretching. How's it mixing for you?
it's a good one. Hi.
I think I'm gonna do another Christmas party tomorrow. Watch another one. Just can't get enough of these Christmas parties, guys. I might bring out my chocolate truffles for it too, that were in the other video. I don't know. They may have enough sugar though, so maybe I shouldn't.
That would be a good idea. Share the pretties.
I know, and I even have Grinch ones. They have little pink hearts on them. My littlest niece did.
You're talking about a workout. Yes.
I told you, we're not even on the second cup yet. And this is why the KitchenAid is. It's almost as important as the plate.
So for anyone who's trying this recipe, do the KitchenAid. Trust me.
Yes. And I'm moving on to my second cup. Now again, I'm very carefully setting it in the bottom so that it doesn't fall at all. That way there's no packing. You might think an inch doesn't really count as falling and won't pack, but it'll pack a lot and it'll change your whole recipe. And with these cookies, they are so very delicate because the cookie itself is not a lot of sugar and is really almost dry, but I don't mean dry in a bad way, but it's dry to counteract the wetness of the frosting so that when you put them together. And side note, it is better to do this 24 hours before you want to serve it, because while it's good, warm, and squishy, it is not the amazing treasure that it is when it has sat for at least 24 hours in the fridge. Because they kind of go together, it sets up the frosting and the cookie itself is just, it all works together. But with that being the case and the cookie being so gentle, fragile, kind of dry, you really don't want extra flour in this one.
I'm gonna level with you. This smells delicious.
Really? Yes. Butter, Crisco, sugar, a little flour. You really can't go wrong. One of the things I really like to mix when I'm making something is melted butter and granulated sugar. So the little there, so I'll have to use some 409 to clean this up since it's raw. Afterwards, or a little Dawn. Most of it's in my container though. All right, here we go on the second cup. So after I get this in, all that is left is the 2 teaspoons of almond extract. Now, what I have to tell you guys about this, when you get down to the end of the cup and it's hard to mix it in, those 2 teaspoons of almond extract sometimes make the difference because it's liquid and it's almonds, so you can't go wrong. at least the extra. I'm not a big fan of the actual nut. I don't really like crunchy things.
I'm in fact allergic to the actual nut.
There we go. We are in the same area. Now, did you get real almond flavoring or did you get imitation?
I did not. Yeah. I'm not a fool. I'm not, oh geez. I'm not gonna take the chance. It's gonna make me sick. So
Good call. Good call.
even if it wouldn't, I still don't want to take the chance.
Yeah. Ooh, little Peter Hollins. I forgot that he was in my Christmas list.
Nice.
He's amazing.
I've got Mariah Carey that just popped in. So yay for me.
Yeah. I feel like those two would be interesting to hear together.
If she wasn't broken of her voice now, I think that, yeah.
Yeah. Starting to get hard here, guys. Starting to get hard. And maybe
great.
regretting not using the KitchenAid.
Maybe just a little.
This is going to be my longest Vlogmas. And I think we were talking about it. I think we're going to do a video for the cookie making and put it on the plate, get that ready. And then I think we may do a video for the frosting making. And then we'll do a video for cooking the cookies and frosting them. I'm not sure if those will be the same video or two separate, just that way that we don't wait in between. Because I don't really have the ability to Zoom across time and do that like a lot of IT people, because really I write my novels by hand. This is a huge thing for me to use a video. I mean, I do video, but
That's
I'm not an IT person.
I suddenly can hear Peter.
Well, he wanted to be heard.
Apparently.
Ooh, there we go. I think I got it in, guys. Now look at this dough. It's very thick. Very, very thick. Very, very merry. That is some smooth dough. But the most important ingredient is the almond. Do not forget this. You will regret life or something like it. Are you getting close to putting the almond in on your side, or how are you doing? Should I move on or wait for you?
Move on, my friend. Move on. I am getting there.
All right.
My spatula is not in fact free, but we're good.
You're going to do 2 teaspoons of almond. And you will need this for the frosting as well.
Please.
The smell of almond is just my favorite. Almond, jasmine.
Come on.
And I'm hoping that more because I just used all of the almond in the cookie.
Oh no.
I know this is really bad. But this video will be good. You may only get the cookie video tonight, and then I may have to get stuff and do the frosting a different day. Or we'll just watch Ben Petrichor make the frosting and I'll talk her through it. She said no. Or she laughed. I don't know, which is it?
She laughed.
No.
Which meant no. Oh. You're great.
All right. We're there. You know what that means? We got a beautiful, beautiful cookie dough here. The closest I can say is that this kind of reminds me a bit of a shortbread in flavor, but it is not a shortbread in what's in it or how it's treated or any of those technical things that people smarter than I can explain. It's just really good. Okay.
I miss shortbread.
I know the shortbread recipe I have has only 3 ingredients, and it sits up a lot more solid, and the structure, it's just easier, like it's less fragile, would be the big difference. But
I genuinely miss being able to eat it.
Here is my plate. You'll notice it is not a big plate. My hand goes all the way across. I'm 5'4", so I'm a big hand. What you're going to do is you're going to take the cookie dough and you're going to put it in the plate. hopefully you've noticed that you've got everything mixed and you don't have a bunch of chunks of butter or Crisco because those will melt in the oven, which means they'll melt, which is good. But you could have some holes as that happens, or it could damage the cookie a little bit. So that could be a bad thing. Sometimes you'll have to use more than one plate. So I like to kind of put it in there and I like to push it. I push it with the spatula, trying to make it kind of equal with the edge of the plate. So you're trying to fill it and make it equal. If it all fits in one, it's beautiful. Need a second plate, you just do the best you can and you kind of push it up so that it stays equal instead of filling the whole plate. Because you need it to be full.
Excuse me, ma'am.
In the next part with the cookies, when we get it out and we do the next video, you get to get your hands a little dirty. But because we've done this, they won't be horribly dirty. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push it all into here. I technically have a little too much for my plate, but I'm going to do so just very carefully. Point that my mother would have everyone make. When you finish with your bowl, make sure you soak it, because if that dries on, it's not going to be fun to clean. And make sure you clean it before you go to bed for anyone who might be in your household who doesn't like to see a dirty sink when they wake up in the morning, or for yourself, because it's a good idea. All right, so I'm taking my plate and I'm just going to push it all in there as flat as I can get it. And then I'm going to scrape with my finger, which I don't know if you should do or not, but my hands are clean. I washed them. Pretty good at that. It's very important. So many words I say remind me of my Mrs. Cratchit role now.
It happens.
Very merry. Very happy, I have no doubt. All right, so you can kind of see how when I'm scraping off how it sticks to your hands. So by putting this in the fridge, it makes it a little more solid, and you're actually able to, we're going to cut it into rows, and you're going to roll matching balls because you have to have pairs of them. So you roll in like marbles, and then we're going to use a fork and sugar, and we're going to kind of press it down gently. So it'll still be thick, but it'll be flat. I like it to bloom, and then we'll cook it at, I think, 250 degrees for 25 minutes. And then I take them off within the first 2 to 5 minutes. And I put them on a plate and I start frosting and doing them so that they're at that thing. All right, I'm going to put some cellophane over this and I'm going to put it in the fridge. If you're doing this quickly and you just really want to do it quickly, you don't want to wait, it works to put it in the freezer as well. Just don't forget about it. You just need it to be cold enough that you can cut through it and you can have chunks you can pick up and roll that don't melt all over your hand. And if you have cold hands like me, it's a lot easier as well. So I don't know, anything you want to add about the cookie part making, the dough?
It was surprisingly easy despite my arm wanting to fall off.
And now you had a workout. Maybe. Do you like my snow globe earrings?
Well, those are cute.
All right, so we'll do this, and hopefully tonight you'll also get the frosting and the setting it up to cook it and then the putting them together. Hopefully we won't leave you hanging. But Merry Vlogmas, Merry Christmas. You're almost there. Give me an idea for the day 13 part of the song.
Hello.